Okay, I'll just talk like this so you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Pretty good.
I've never done this before.
No problem. No
um,
problem.
love your videos.
Thank you.
I've been following you since late last year, and they're pretty good. I'm always looking forward to your streams.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. What did you start? Did you start in like the Trisha Paytas era?
um, no, I started. I can't remember the first video I saw of yours actually, but it was definitely like heavy into the paint era.
Okay. Which one?
But what I wanted to talk about actually was the deepfake stuff.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I
I
heard
feel
the
like
other person mention
I
that
see both
before.
sides of the story. So you're gonna have to bear with me here on this idea of mine.
Mhm.
When I look at the situation, this is how I see it. When to personalize it, it would be like having someone talk about you like behind your back, like that locker room talk, where
Okay.
they and no one's proud of it, but it does happen.
Hmm.
And so when you hear about that, you'll be like, ah, that's fucked, but it's kind of annoying.
Hmm.
So, but on the internet, the one rule of locker rooms is that you don't do it out in public. Like you don't do it out in the open. You definitely don't do it in front of the other person's face.
Hmm.
So now online, we have all these online locker rooms. So like that's people writing, drawing fan art. That's fan fiction. And that stuff is kind of goes underneath the rug because it's not as realistic. Deep fakes are very realistic.
Hmm.
And so that's where I see a problem coming up.
Yeah. So for me, I like my general take on like the deep fake, and specifically porn at this point, because that's kind of where what's being used for, is this first and foremost. Like, I don't think it's as big of a deal if somebody takes your face and superimposes it onto another person's body, as long as you know it's somebody else. If it's being passed off as it's actually you, I get that. That could be frustrating, but it is literally not them. And so it's something that like I don't have a super strong opinion on because I don't think it's the I think the biggest issue I had more than anything else is that people like were very disproportionate on the internet as to what's going on. Like when I saw that girl crying because it was very clear like somebody deepfaked them and nobody actually thought it was them and they started crying. Like I think that that's very either performative or they're way too sensitive and I just can't respect that. I can understand being like a little upset.
I think that's because they were bombarded with the information. Like I said before, the whole with fan art or fan fiction, because that's kind of how I see it. It's just like another fan or just public rendition of what they think they would be like,
Mhm.
even when they have no idea. If someone was bombarded with those images, they would, I can see how it would be upsetting. And a little, people have felt harassed for less, just words. So to have realistic images coming at you, even if
Twat
you know
M4
it's not
super
you,
chatted
the idea that someone is seeing you like
$9.99.
that and then feeling aroused and jerking off to you like
Hey,
that
thank you
would
so much
be
for the
upsetting.
donation, brother. I understand that. I think that the biggest issue that I have with that narrative, though, is that they didn't have to go on the internet and cry for everybody. Like, it's one thing if you're in the middle of a live stream and you see and you get upset. It's another thing if you go on to like talk about it and you get upset. But she just went on crying. I think it's disproportionate. I think I personally I just don't see it. I don't see you getting that upset over a deep fake. Like I get why you'd be pissed, it might be a little upset, but like it just comes off as like a very performative measure. Like I don't think any normal person would have that kind of reaction if they got deep faked. Maybe I'm just wrong about that.
Mm.
Maybe I'm just tired of sensitivity on the internet. I don't know, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I just see on the individual level, personally, something I think she should be, in case of that one girl who was crying,
mhm.
it was like her, someone she knew on,
Yeah, I was looking
thing,
at
like
her
someone
deep
who knew
fakes.
her was the one that was looking at it. And I feel like that's definitely weird because it's someone you know.
Oh yeah, for sure, weird. I just don't know if I'd cry over weird. I know as a girl it's different. Like I wouldn't give a fuck at all if somebody was doing that,
I
but
would feel very upset.
I mean the thing
Not
is
to
I
get
had
too deep or anything
yeah, go ahead.
or too personal, but there was something like that did happen similar to me where somebody who I was in a relationship with was kind of doing that locker room bragging about like our interactions behind my back, and I felt that very anger inducing and a little
Where
violent, and
you
it
were
pissed me
like you
off.
guys were sleeping together and they were talking about it to people behind your back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, that could be definitely
That would
frustrating.
piss me off. So I understand when she's like someone else is seeing it or even making it about you, making it for you.
Mhm.
That would, I can see how she would be like very upset by that. And I think we're kind of
I think
Well,
downplaying that.
if it was actually her body and it was like revenge porn, then like she has every right to be as upset as she did. I think that's different because you actually were sleeping with that person, and then
Yeah, yeah,
they violated your autonomy, or I guess in some capacity by like showing that and like your trust, and I think that's a huge violation. But sorry about you.
yeah.
no, I think at least from like what I hear, I think some people. I'm not saying that you exactly think this, but I think some people hear like your husband, like
Me.
your take on it,
Okay.
and people think that like you're saying like she should just like not care about this and like move on. I don't like that's the sense that I get. Like even reading
Okay.
Oh,
comments and
that's what I'm
stuff
kind of
like
hearing. You
that.
seem a little too flippant about it, is what I'm talking about. I
So,
don't
but
think
I
she should have
think
Okay.
that that's
broke
not.
down, but I
Yeah,
think she
I
should have
like
said
his
something.
like opinion. I don't think is getting like taken in for what it really is. What he's saying is like, and this is kind of like how I interpreted it. This person, I don't know her name, but the girl who was like crying about it was almost crying as if she were physically assaulted.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Um, and I think our him and I like share our perspective on this is that it's something that's definitely violating and like boundaries need to be set and that's okay. But when it comes to being like a public figure on the internet, there's things that like are should be coped with like more in private and with like trusted people in your life rather than having that full like raw process with the public. um I think that there's a lot when it comes to being online where people don't keep they're too transparent, they're too open and upfront about things.
Hmm.
Like no doubts for her to be upset by this, and especially it being someone that she knows. My perspective on this has always been like it becomes like it's uncomfortable, it's weird, but it becomes a major issue when you start treating the person like they are that fake thing. So like when I was processing this with him, like I could have a crush. Like I was dating my husband and I had a crush on him, and if I was home doing my thing by myself, I could be thinking about him. Like that. I
Yeah.
think to some level, like not everyone is deep faking, but we're all fantasizing about someone
But in that example,
usually.
what if you then went and made a deep fake of him and then showed it to him?
Yeah, so like that's what's weird, right? Or like sharing that. I think that
Yeah,
people are very open and like weird on the internet. We all do like our things privately and like fantasize privately.
that's my
Um
thing. That's what I
but
was trying
I
to relate to you with like the whole locker room. It's behind closed doors that it usually happens.
and even like the whole locker room thing, that's still like sharing it with other people. Like sharing it with other
Yeah,
people
yeah.
is weird. Like if you're I think that we all have fantasies about people that we know to some capacity, but it's not that this girl or whoever experiences this should be numb to it and be like, oh, like whatever, move on. Like that's not the case. It's the having like the sense of, okay, like what really happened? Like how much does it affect me? Is it me? No.
Do people
And
think
how
it's
are
me? Is
how
another
are
question.
people treating me about it? Are they saying, oh,
Hmm.
this person deepfaked you? Like, this isn't you. This isn't your body. This isn't you performing these natural acts. Or is it like having a sex dream about your boss and then going to your boss at work in real life and be like, oh, like you fucked me really good in my dream last night. Like, I love
That's really
fucking
fucked up.
you.
Yeah.
You know? I think that it's just like a blurred line between like what's happening on the internet and like what is real. Does
Yeah.
that make
Yeah,
sense?
Yeah, I guess for me, because I made my perspective before, but like I understand the way that I talk about it. Maybe it sounds like I don't care. Like I don't
yeah.
have a strong opinion on this topic. I mean, like I've also had my dick pic leaked on the internet, and like a bunch of people saw it. So like I just
Oh no,
yeah,
that's
hey, I'm
terrible.
proud of it, so I don't care. But like my thing is like so like that comes from that too. It like that's almost like not even comparable to that, but it's somewhat comparable to that. I'm like I personally like whatever it is, what it is. Like you expect like a certain level of that, I guess. But more than that, like I didn't like the crying. It did come off like she was somebody like violently assaulted her, and I think that
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
I think it probably that I'm just so much more frustrated with the disproportionate online, interactions with shit that like I probably clouded me a little bit. Like, yeah, but I remember saying that like, okay, I think it's shitty that it's public or that people are able to profit off of her likeness. It's just that the crying, just like
No, yeah,
it gets a little
I
exhausting.
remember you saying that. I definitely don't think it's worthy of her having like a complete breakdown, but I do get like being frustrated, maybe even crying over it, or having a YouTube statement about it with some tears, apology video, the likes, whatever. But I don't think she should have went that far with it. That being said, YouTubers or internet celebrities and actual celebrities are very different. And I was thinking about how actual celebrities are like prepared for this stuff because that happens to them a lot, but they have teams that
Yeah, help
will
them
talk to
manage
them and
it.
explain to them how it is, how to deal with it, how to look for, and even sometimes how to manufacture it for advertising. But
That's
YouTubers don't get
true.
any of that.
Yeah, she could have gotten a lot of popularity off of this. So she really missed the mark on that. I'm just fucking with you. No, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. But I think that like part of it, like, yeah, you're right. I mean, they don't have anybody to manage them. It does get frustrating when like every other day you've got a YouTuber complaining about something in a way that is so disproportionate. And I feel like on
No,
the
yeah.
online sensitive, everybody's so disproportionate. Some of it comes off as performative, and like there's not like I listen. I've had my moments rarely where like I've gotten upset on camera. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, and I've but like I also didn't engineer it to get upset on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of me is like, she could have came on and said, "Hey guys, I'm really upset. This really sucks. I don't like this. Like, it feels gross. Hide your cry with like whoever you want." But said she came on like she was like my wife said, like fucking somebody like literally stripped away like her physical autonomy from her, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it gets a little frustrating, and maybe I focused on it too much on that. So
The deepfake stuff is just so I'm not gonna say it's brand new, but it's newer enough that there isn't necessarily a precedent reaction per se or how someone should respond to it.
um, maybe could be. Like in general, we're all struggling to. Like I said, I don't have like strong opinions on it because this is something that's pretty
I know,
new.
but if she
So
went up there and complained about like somebody, like, fan art can be great. They can look like pictures, but she's like, oh,
yeah,
someone drew this really good fan art of me, and oh my god, like then we'd all say, all right, come on, chill out.
but yeah, I would. I'd say you're a fucking moron. Like that's what I tell her if she cried about that. Like if you like, that's the thing though. Is like I almost like look at deepfakes as like fan art. As long as people don't actually think it's them, like it's like what are we really doing here? It's not really
Yeah,
her
I'm saying
body.
it's close, but
I
it's
feel
just
worse for
I
the porn
think the
star who's.
quality and the editing makes it a little. It's just way more realistic.
I get it what you're saying. Yeah, I feel bad for the porn star though because they put all that hard work in, and now people don't realize it's them. That's the real victim here. We got to talk about true victim. No, I get what you're saying. I'm just fucking around.
What I think really about the
No, you're
deepfake
right. That's all I
stuff.
wanted to say. I just wanted to talk to you about it, see a
Yeah,
little more of what you felt.
yeah. No, that's no problem with that. I appreciate that. And what did you want?
I was just gonna say, like with the deepfake stuff, I think that if
Oh,
anything, this
you
is
could just call me
going.
by my
This
username.
Oh no, my wife. Are you attached, babe? Talk.
I don't know.
Can you hear my wife?
No.
Oh, have
Oh.
you heard her at all when she was talking?
Yes, I have, but just
Oh,
now, no.
oh, that's what I was saying. She wanted to. This keeps happening where she cuts in and out.
What about now?
Can you hear her now?
I guess not.
She's saying something?
Oh,
Because no.
that's the problem.
Whatever.
I heard her earlier, though.
Yeah, that's weird.
And yeah, I was really grateful for her
Yeah,
chiming in too. She hasn't really been talking this much. I appreciated her words.
yeah. Try now, babe.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I guess not.
No, you want her to come over to your mic?
If you want to say something, I'll
It's
figure.
not that important.
Okay. Well, anyway, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
All right. Did you have
All
anything
right,
else?
thanks.
Oh, take care. All
No,
right?
I didn't have anything else.
Okay, no problem. Take care. Have a good one. I appreciate you stopping by.
You too.
Why does that keep happening to you? Hold on. Let me unmute. Go ahead.
I'm talking.
I don't know. It seems like you're fine. Maybe maybe it just cut out for her. Oh, maybe it just cut out. It might be like you just like. I think it was her phone messing up.
Okay.
I think you're fine. What were you gonna say though?
I was just gonna say about the deepfake thing because a couple of people have mentioned it,
Yeah.
and like also that like you're, I guess, almost neutral in it, but not in a negative way. I think that this whole thing is just gonna actually prompt the conversation and set the social narrative for what we believe is right or wrong about deepfakes, and that you aren't going to argue, like, if people like say it's wrong, like, you're not going to argue like against that.
Oh yeah, no. If like I said that too. If somebody comes on and there's a narrative to ban deepfakes, I'm gonna say okay. Like I don't care. Like I just don't really care too much either way.
But yeah, I do think your take, it might sound like she's being a pussy, like shut the fuck up, you know?
Well,
But like I know
but true.
your more nuanced take though of it. Like, yeah, cry about it in private.
I think she's being very disproportionate. She can be upset about people like profiting off of her image. I understand stuff like that, but like I do think that like the crying and the like for somebody that lives in the real world where I've experienced things that are worse and you've experienced things that are worse.
Well, yeah, but
it feels disproportionate.
like I'm gonna tell a story about work that you already know. So I've been like very stressed at work. And basically, I got a direction from somebody above me to do something. So I applied that direction in another area.
Yeah, I know the story you're talking about.
And so basically, I applied this, which I'm not even going to get into the details, but I applied their direction into another area, and like a whole bunch of people like shit their pants about it.
Yeah.
Including this person that gave the direction. Then I come to find out that they had a major problem with the action I completed. And when the person told me that it was that person
that told you to do
that
the action,
told me, I instantly burst into tears. I burst into tears because I was so fucking frustrated. Like, I had already been crying that day. Like, I was having a frustrating day. But, like, the moment they said that, like, I burst into tears. So that's why I think that you're more empathetic to her than maybe what you're even realizing or communicating.
What, to the girl that was crying?
Yeah, because again, the way that you're saying it is you're being like, you're like, don't cry, like you're being a pussy about it. But like the initial like processing of like what happened, like, yeah, like express like your feelings as it may be, if it's crying or whatever. But when communicating to your larger crowd and whatnot, like have it together a little bit. And you know what? I am a fucking crybaby, whoever that is.
Yeah, but you didn't load up a stream to cry about what happened. You know what I mean? That's what the thing that bothers me is that like there's a time and a place, and like I understand people are saying like, oh, just because it's not as bad for you doesn't mean that her feelings aren't valid. Like there's a proportion. I just think it's disproportionate. Like I don't really care too much to get too much into it. I personally would try not to load up a stream and just start crying. As my first thing when I'm upset, I would probably take a breath and come on and be a little bit more intelligible about my what I have to say, and because then it comes off as like I think it's maybe this is just me being online and seeing so many content creators like a pity bait, but it comes off as pity bait when you're disproportionate like that. But that also might just be me. Maybe I'm just too maybe I'm not soft enough sometimes. I could be a little insensitive, I guess. That's how I feel about that. But even like with what you got upset about, like you weren't crying to the degree that she was. Like you had tears in your eyes and you were upset.
Yeah, but what about when I got home?
Yeah, but I'm your husband. When you got home,
no, but like that's what I'm saying. Like if she cried like that to her friend,
yeah, that would be perfectly fine. Dude.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
No problem with her crying like that. It's like you can go do whatever you need to do. Like
I'm saying that's what it's coming.
Oh yeah, no, cry however like do process how you need to. It's just like when it comes to like the online shit, it comes off as performative to me. But maybe I'm just a mean guy. Maybe I just hate women. I mean, maybe is definitely. I'm just kidding.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.